What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to Down to the Wire. I'm your host, Brian Cost, and today we have an outstanding episode in store for you. As you know, if you've listened before, along with discussing the latest news in all of sports, I love to talk with athletes of all backgrounds. However, on this episode, we will not just be sticking to only one sport. That is because the guest joining me on the program today is, in fact, a multi-sport Division I athlete right here at Bryant University. He recently made headlines over the weekend as he managed to tie the school's high jump record as a freshman by achieving a height of 1.95 meters. That's just over 6 feet 4 inches for those grabbing your calculators at home. But when he isn't flying through the air with grace on high jump, he can be seen throwing down ferocious dunks with the NEC champion men's basketball team. So without any further ado, hailing from Weymouth, Massachusetts, please welcome to the show, Mike Marshall. Mike, glad to have you here, man.
Thank you for having me.
So, I mean, first off, I'm just trying to think. When it comes to high jump, are you just the first good guy we've gotten, or is Bryant, or is Bryant just sucked this entire time? Like, what's the deal?
I don't think they suck. I think for the level, if you have a kid jumping upwards of 6'8" to 7 feet, they probably wouldn't come to Bryant.
Fair enough.
So I think that height is probably a really good height for the NEC and the level that Bryant's in.
Obviously, I'm joking here. I kind of just want to start things off, but first of all, I mean, congratulations on tying the record, man.
Thank you.
That's an incredible feat to achieve here. I mean, what was going through your head when you were getting ready for that jump?
I mean, it was an amazing experience because the weather was pretty bad. I mean, it was kind of windy and stuff like that. And it was my first college meet coming right out of basketball season. I mean, I didn't know what to expect, if I was going to do really well, really bad, right in between. And I remember in the basketball group chat, our coaches were sending out like the mandatory schedule for the weekend. They were like, we're going to the track at 10:30. Like we're going to go see Mike. And like track is a real individual sport. You don't really coach against other guys and stuff like that. There's not a lot of talking. And the whole basketball team was right behind the high jump mat, just talking crap to all the other kids, cheering me on. I mean, it was a great experience. It was really fun.
I love that, man. Obviously, that was something I was really interested in talking about. And it kind of implored me to get you on the episode today. So this was something that you knew those guys were going to show up. So the men's basketball team, for anyone who didn't see, when Mike was attempting to tie the record, the entire men's basketball team was at the track, literally cheering you on. And I was like, this is awesome, man. Like this, how was it? I mean, how grateful were you to see those guys out there?
Oh, I mean, and for them, it's like they want to do it. Yeah. I mean, I see them every day. I mean, we're here all winter break, all fall and stuff like that. I mean, I'm with them, I don't know, 4 hours a day. And it was a great experience to have them out there cheering me on, for them to see it. I mean, it was just really cool. I mean, they're all my guys. So.
Yeah. I mean, I see Coach Grasso.
Was out there.
I saw Timmy. I saw Adam. I saw literally all those guys cheering you on. I was like, oh man, that's got to be an amazing feeling to have those guys support. I mean, just knowing those guys, it's got to be something that's really special. For you, I did track back in high school. I was a sprinter, and then I did baseball in the springtime. So so I only did indoor. I never did high jump, but from what I've basically learned, unless you come from like a family of track gurus, track is usually something that you pick up, try and train almost for another sport. That's at least what it was in my case for baseball. How was track introduced to you?
So it's really funny that you say that. So the high school I went to, their academy in Braintree, for anyone who knows what that is, they wanted you to play two sports. They really encouraged it. And I was really focused on playing college basketball, and I didn't know what to do with my second sport. I wanted to play football, but I knew it just wasn't best for my interest. And the assistant basketball coach at there happened to be the men's track coach. So he was like, you know what? Just come out to the track team in the spring. This was my sophomore year.
Yeah.
Come out to the track. You can go to all your AAU basketball tournaments, and I'll write you down as a second sport. Come do a couple meets with us, and that's fine.
That's awesome.
And I picked it up, and I was pretty good my sophomore year. And then last year, my senior year, I did really well, actually. Won the league and the Massachusetts. So
were you just a pure high jumper, or were there other things that you tried to entertain?
So in high school, I did a lot. I did the 4x1 relay, which is the 100-meter sprint times 4, the 200-meter sprint, and then all the jumping events, which is long, high, and triple jump.
Nice.
And here, they just had me doing high jump, which is like my better event. So
yeah. So I mean, when you first got, like, how how did like the coach tells you to come out and participate in track. What was the process of him saying like, hey, why don't you give high jump a shot? Because again, like when you come out and you do track, it's like, all right, I guess I'm going to run. Like that's the general idea of what you do whenever you go to track. It's like, all right, I'm either going to run or I'm going to throw something. That's the idea of it. Jumping, it's kind of just like something that that a lot of runners will kind of just get thrown into over time. What was that? How did you really kind of, make your mark and get into that area?
I don't really know. They wanted me to come out in the spring and see what I could do. And it was just really confusing with my schedule with basketball.
Yeah.
The basketball staff was completely fine with it. As you know, I mean, they came to the meet, they loved it. But going forward, I knew I was only going to do high jump because that was something that the track coaches think I could place in the league, and it could get some points. And I was interested in doing it, so we may as well give it a shot.
Yeah.
And first meet went well, so I mean, we'll see where it goes in the future. But
yeah, absolutely.
Big meet this weekend.
Well, yeah, you guys got a big meet this weekend, obviously coming up. And what I'm curious about is, it says in your player bio that your PR for high jump in high school was 6'8".
Yeah.
So
in 3/4. So almost
okay.
6'9".
Okay, fine. I'll give you anything. I'll give you that too.
Yeah.
So almost 6 feet 9 inches. How confident do you feel that you might be able to set that record at Bryant come this year? I know you're coming off basketball, but how do you feel about your chances?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think I'm fine. On last Saturday, me and my high jump coach, we did a short approach. So It wasn't the full approach that I'd usually come from, meaning you don't get the same momentum and
because
build
of the
up.
weather.
No, he just wanted me to ease back into it rather than getting a full approach, messing up with my mechanics. So I've never even done, it was called a 4-step. Never really done that in a meet, but we gave it a try.
And you tied the record. That's awesome, man.
I mean, I think whenever he decides to move me back to like a quote unquote full approach, work with him with some form, I think I can get that for sure. And I know the top of the NEC is actually 6'8 3/4.
Oh,
so
wow.
I mean, I think by the end of the year and by the NEC meet, I can get that for sure. Maybe even higher. Yeah. I mean, I've been working out all winter with basketball. So
I love to hear that, man. Yeah. That's really awesome. So you mentioned, having to come off basketball and your coach having to ease you back in. What's that kind of commitment like? I mean, obviously, for a lot of people, like track athletes, just like, all around cross country and track athletes. Yeah. They'll typically have to do the grind of, playing in possibly 2, even 3 seasons. But for yourself, you come from, playing a very different sport in basketball to then, going out and competing in high jump. What's that kind of commitment been like for you?
It was weird at first, especially with my coach kind of being so like precautious, and I kind of like him for doing that, and it was smart. And I kind of didn't agree with him at first about it because I wanted to just go out there and do my own thing and jump just like high school. In high school, I had no real coaching, kind of just ran from a distance and went and jumped over thing. But he's been teaching me along the way, and yeah, I get 6'4" this week, and maybe this weekend I get 6'6", and going forward, keep going up. And I like the pace that we're going at. And I think it's really good coming out of basketball season that we're going at a slower pace. And like you said, it is a totally different sport. I remember the first week of track practice, the workouts weren't nearly as bad, but I was in a lot of pain just because the movements were so different.
Well, yeah, it's completely different muscles that you're working out. And it's something that I remember. I don't know. I'm going to sound like a complete dork by bringing this up, but I remember, I'd go from playing track to playing flag football. And I like, it's weird because, it'd be like, oh, you've probably, played backyard football your entire life, but just like working out those different muscles that you've never really worked before or at least in some considerable amount of time, it does take an adjustment period to get back into.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I guess kind of going off that then, how is your training probably taking some priority over some of your other commitments that you've, had here?
I mean, I want to say social life has been very slim, like I'm not living like the average freshman social life that, the kid next door to me in Bristol will live, but I mean, I have no complaints with that.
Kid in Bristol's kind of an animal.
Yeah. He's doing his thing. I mean,
Jesus Christ.
I'm waking up at 8 a.m., but
he's still going from the last night.
Oh, he's going to class though. Yeah. He's going to class.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to name any names, but he's going to class.
Of course you don't have to.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't. We're not that kind of a podcast. We're not an expose podcast. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
No, yeah, that's my example. I mean, the social life obviously cut out. You have to prioritize basketball during the season, and now kind of I'm in my off season, but really I'm in a new season.
Yeah.
So I mean, my off season is the fall and the summer, In the summer, I'm working out for basketball. In the fall, I mean, we're basically practicing.
Yeah.
So for me, it's kind of like a year-round thing now. And I didn't even sign up for that to come here, but now it kind of happened, and I'm glad it happened.
Yeah. So then how did you get involved with both at the D1 level then? Like how did that come about?
So I came here just to play basketball.
Yeah.
And obviously the coaches found out my numbers, the track coaches from high school, and they're looking at Bryant's numbers and the NEC numbers, and they think I'd do pretty well here in high jump. They proposed to offer if I wanted to hop on the team in outdoor once basketball ended. I talked to the basketball staff. They were all for it. And basically right when we got back from the tournament, they were in North Carolina, the track team, for some meet at High Point.
Mm-hmm.
And I went home for that weekend. It was nice to go home. And then that Monday I started practicing.
That's crazy.
For the track team. So yeah.
Yeah. How was it going from one set of guys to, a completely new team? How was that kind of, change?
I mean, I've had no problem with the track kids. I love them all.
Yeah.
I mean, and they all treat me amazing too, especially like a newcomer coming in, like sometimes I don't know how other teams would feel like that.
If it's going to be like boxed off and it's going to be like, oh, who's this guy coming in?
Yes.
Like, oh, he thinks he can just like walk right on in here, but it hasn't been like that.
Oh, they've been all welcoming, inviting me to anything they do, stuff like that, making sure to help me with the warm-ups, any questions I have in practice.
That's awesome.
They're all very welcoming, supporting, great group of people. And it's totally different than basketball practices where you're up and down, you're competing. And in track, it's like, oh no, do this. I'll help you with this. Stuff like that.
Well, in basketball, like, there are only 5 guys that can be on the court at one time. So so sometimes it can be like, oh yeah, you want to do this with your shot. And it's just like, I got him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's very competitive, and you can almost see it, like at least in some very toxic teams, you can see guys almost like backstab each other. And because they realize, oh, he's cutting in my playing time. I want to get some of that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm glad to hear that, at least the track team isn't like that. And it's an all around good vibe.
It's a very like chill sport.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. I can completely agree with it. But I don't know, of all the schools, like what got you to come to this little small school in Rhode Island? Like what got you to come to Bryant, man?
I mean, I don't know. My recruiting kind of died because of COVID when I was in high school. Ooh, so I kind of didn't really know what I was going to do. I know I wanted to do something in business.
Yeah.
And I want to stay somewhat close to home. I mean, I'm about 45 to an hour away from home. So it's a pretty good distance. Coach Grasso on the staff gave me an opportunity to come. Came here, liked it, and decided to come here. And it's been a great fit so far. And I mean, I'm enjoying my freshman year. So.
Yeah. How have those guys been? So I kind of want to talk some basketball with you as well.
Let's go.
How has that whole experience been? So I know, although you didn't get a chance to play this year, you got to, be in a locker room with an incredible team. I'd say arguably the best team that Bryant's ever had in their history as a school. I mean, they never won the NEC before this. Yeah. So I think that's a fair statement to make.
For sure.
Being able to at least just kind of like, whether you're, on the court, being a fly on the wall, whatever it is, you're in that room with those guys. What was your experience like?
I mean, I have no regrets, no anything. I mean, it's just a great experience. Great guys to be around, great coaching staff. I mean, Coach Grasso, just hearing what he says and how he coaches, I mean, it's just a blessing to be around. You learn so much. I mean, this year was kind of like a learning curve for me. Learned a lot of stuff. I mean, you look at guys like Pete, Chuck, all of our starters, really tough, like really good players. And you learn so much. You can add stuff to your game. You can play against them and stuff like that. I mean, it was an amazing experience. I mean, traveling to these places, going to March Madness. I mean, as a freshman,
that's got to be
first year.
That's got to be a pretty good feeling. I mean, obviously, unfortunately, you guys went down to Wright State.
Yeah,
tough
one.
But getting the chance to go into March Madness and work with those guys and just be in that environment. I mean, that's the largest skill I feel you've probably ever like been on it at that point. How is that? How is it taking all that in?
I mean, that's just a dream can come true.
Yeah.
I mean, you go to Bryant, it's a small D1 school. You have to win your league. I mean, that's really hard.
Yeah.
Coming here, I mean, I knew we had a really good team. And then as the season went on, I'm like, we can do this. Like, we really can. Ended up winning the league, going to March Madness. I mean, it was just an unreal feeling. I mean, I grew up, I'm a big March Madness guy, always filling up the brackets.
Course. I'm there every day, every year.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. Like, I didn't always like to do the virtual ones. Now I do because you realize you can compete against your friends.
Is that like bracketology?
Yeah, like
what's it called?
Or
a tournament, something,
or just March Madness Live.
Yeah.
Like I always liked doing like the pen and paper one where you could like actually just like hold up your bracket and be like, this is who I got winning it.
Yeah.
Eventually, I've kind of phased out of it, but I remember, back in high school, it was the day the games were starting, and I realized, oh my God, I haven't filled out a bracket yet, and I was in, I think, like health class or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I say to the teacher, I'm just like, hey, can I run to the bathroom? She goes, yeah, sure.
You
I remember
out something,
I sprinted to the library, printed out like 2 brackets, and I was just filling them out in the back of class. And I was like, oh my God, I got to get this down. So I think I did one for Villanova because they're my favorites. And then Duke. So I did those
Tough
guys.
season for them though. Justin Moore, is that his name? Justin Moore, or what's his name?
For
Villanova,
think,
the off guard.
Oh
he
my
got hurt.
God, yeah, that was terrible. I saw that was really bad. Yeah, and then obviously UNC spoiled Coach K's final run at it.
Yeah.
So and I mean that was a bracket from a couple of years back. I think the year I picked it, Nova might have actually won, but I really don't even know.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's been obviously a ton of fun to participate in. Probably even better to be there live on courtside witnessing
words
that.
Can't describe it. It was insane.
Yeah, I mean. Obviously, he had some great coaches doing it. One of those guys, obviously, Coach Jared Grasso, just signed an extension through 2026 with the team.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it was.
It's an incredible deal for you guys. I mean, that's got to be an amazing feeling to have him back in the building for sure now.
Especially for me. I mean, I'm a freshman. I mean, obviously, there's worries about a new coach coming in at any point and how they'll like your game and stuff like that. Will they even want you on the team?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they bring in new guys. Like, I mean, you see the guys at URI, most of their teams leaving, they're bringing in new coaches and new players. And that's kind of how it works in college basketball. And I mean, seeing Coach Grasso sign that contract, I mean, it's a great feeling because he'll be here, hopefully by the time I graduate.
Yeah. So, I really hope so too. I mean, what he has done for this program, he is the most important man at Bryant right now.
It's unreal. Yeah.
It is incredible. It has gone, I mean, no shaming Ross Cattell here, but it has gone from Ronald K. Makeley to Jared Grasso runs this university. I mean, before he came here, Bryant was a baseball and lacrosse school. That's what we were.
Yeah.
But in the time he has gotten here, he has gotten everyone.
Like your freshman year?
Not even like before my freshman year, because I think he came here. So 4 years ago, he came here, I think in 2018. I came in the fall of 19. So he was already putting his plan in place and getting the program together. So, but just like from the general consensus, I knew people at Bryant, like Ryan Ward, who was a outfielder here back in the day. He's on the Dodgers minor leagues now. Incredible baseball talent here, and Bryant still has a great baseball team and
lacrosse team.
Yeah, so they were ranked. They were ranked, I think, coming into this year at one point.
Both of them, I think.
Yeah,
both teams. Yeah.
So I mean, they're incredible teams, and there's nothing to shame on them for that. But what Grasso has been able to do, and just turn it into the basketball machine here, it's something I never thought I'd see. Because I mean, the last time I probably went to the fan section of a basketball game was in high school. Yeah. Like that's the last time I had gone to one, and I remember just coming into college, and I was like. And I think my freshman year, Bryant was fine. I don't think they were anything special. They, the only time I think I went to a game was when they played Brown opening night. And I went and it was fun, but it was nothing like that. This wasn't even like a high school crowd. This felt like a college crowd that we were at. I mean,
all of the games. What games did you come to this year?
I mean, I think I started, towards the end, I was covering stuff with the Fairleigh Dickinson game, stuff like that. Cause I also work in athletic communications here. So I was also, recording a lot of games, doing stats. I was kind of more behind the scenes, not really as much in the stands.
Yeah.
I was in the stands for pretty much for the Wagner championship game through the, the playoffs. I was at every single game. And my God, man, those stands were rocking.
I mean, the doors will open up at 6:00 and it's filled up by 6:15.
Dude, the ticket lines were insane.
Wrapping around to the AIC.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I mean, I have never seen that in my time here, that people going that nuts for tickets. People maybe online, people were going nuts for the Josh Peck tickets that just came out because he's announced as a speaker here. But for a sporting event here, man, I have never seen that. And I was like, you know what? Congrats to Coach Grasso. And I love what he's been able to do for this school. And I love how much he knows he is loved by this community because, the fans will chant his name during the games. And then he obviously kind of pays it forward too, because, when he was giving out, when the tickets were going on sale, he's walking through with Domino's pizzas handed out to people online. Yeah. I'm just like, this man has indebted himself to this community. I'm glad he got rewarded for it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But, man, being on the court at those, obviously being in the stands for those games was something special. For yourself, being on the court, what was, being able to hear all the fans behind you, what was that whole experience like?
Especially our fans.
Oh my God, they're rabid.
Ruthless.
Oh my
ruthless.
God. I mean, did you hear some of the chants?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
That last Wagner game was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, there are chants on here. I cannot say.
Yeah.
I cannot say the chants. I mean, they are that bad.
And it's just so loud. I mean, the gym is so small. It just gets so loud and filled up so quick. I mean, we had the whole stands behind us in white. I mean, that's crazy. That's
the whiteouts were by far the best.
Yeah.
Those were the best. That was the best decision that we made. Like, we did a blackout for a game. I think it was against Central Connecticut. And the crowd
we didn't play well that game.
Yeah. I think a lot of people were surprised. And like, I remember you guys weren't down, but I think you were only up by like 8 or something at halftime. And I remember you guys going in and I was just like, if they play Wagner again, they could be in serious trouble if they're playing like this now come playoff time. And then, obviously after that, switch completely flips. You guys go to face Mount, very contentious game based on the history there last year. I know you weren't here for that, but that was a very heated game. I was lucky enough to peek in through a window to see it live as it was happening and see Charles Pride, flip a switch in his head and, become an offensive scoring threat now. It's crazy though. And then
that game was unreal.
Oh, the Mount game.
I mean,
ridiculous.
I mean, I was worried that game.
I was freaking out in that game. Yeah. I can't lie. And then obviously then the Wagner game,
that was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Well,
game. we jumped out. It was like 36-6.
Yeah, it was 30
something at some point. I was like, is this going like what's going on right now?
I couldn't actually believe what I was physically seeing. And then so I remember as it was happening, I think you guys were up by like maybe 22 points at one point. And and in my mind, I was like, okay, Bryant got hot. They're going on a run. But Wagner, they'll turn it on at any moment. And I was like, you know what, Bryant may have just emptied the gas tank and Wagner could get back in. That was my thoughts of what happened. That wasn't the case. And you guys just kept on steamrolling these guys.
Especially halftime. Like we were all very focused.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't here last year, obviously, but I mean, that had to be a horrible loss for anyone coming back, losing the championship at home.
I mean, you got to see it on TV, like with certain guys. I remember Pete took it very hard. And then other guys really, they took it to heart. And I think, drove them to this revenge tour this year. But I mean, that game was just insane. I mean, like you guys were just dominating them. The fans are into it. Coach Grasso's into it. Everyone's, I have never seen a place more rowdy in my entire life.
Oh, it was all over ESPN and stuff like that. Barstool, all the fans. I mean, it was insane.
And obviously the reason it kind of got there is because of what boiled over at the end. I think it was like 4 minutes, 30 something seconds left.
Yeah. And I was surprised they didn't even call the game.
I don't know how they didn't call the game.
Because if the roles were reversed and we were at Wagner and that happened, we probably would have played it through. But at the end of the day, like, we're down 30, like with 4 minutes left, and the crowd is clearly slurring some crazy words.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, to the Bryant fans that did that, I have no respect for the people that did that. And to the Wagner fans, same thing here. I saw the fight and I've seen how things kind of escalated, and you can see certain things. I've heard rumors I don't want to spread on this show, but basically, for what people don't know about the Bryant crowd is, besides that like one section, everyone else once we realized what was happening, we all sat down. Like as soon as we figured out, oh, there's a fight going on, we were like, we're not getting involved with this anymore. We thought the Wagner fans were just like saying some stuff back, or there was like, actually, you know what I thought was happening when it all started? You see, from my angle, I was sitting about center court and I'm looking down and I see.
Were you high or like low? Or right in the middle?
Kind of like right in the middle of the court. And I'm at the game and I'm sitting about middle of the court, and I look over at the Wagner bench and I basically see, a couple of the guys trying to get into the stands, or,
the players, right?
Yeah. And well, what at the time we figured out, it was them trying to get in the stands. At that moment, I see one of the players getting taken away from the others. And in my mind at that time, I thought, oh, this team's the team's like breaking apart. They're like fighting each other. And I thought they were like, fighting internally. That's what I thought was happening. And I think a lot of other fans may have realized that and were cheering on the fact that they thought they were blowing up.
Yes.
And I think that's what I thought was happening. Then we realized it escalated into the stands, and chairs were thrown, bottles were thrown.
Yeah.
I was sitting mid-court. A Wagner fan from the opposite side took a Powerade bottle and hit a person 2 rows behind me.
Yeah.
It was nuts. I mean, I know you guys were on the court kind of like just trying to hold back.
Yeah, we didn't even know what was going on. I mean, all of our coaches were just, don't say anything, don't do anything. We're going to win this game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, no one wanted to do any stupid stuff. So we ended up going to the locker room, but whatever happened. And that's just insane.
Yeah.
I mean,
they said they were going to clear out the place and they didn't. So
that would have stunk if they cleared out the place.
Yeah.
I mean,
did that take the wind out of the sails for you? All that happening?
I wouldn't say it took it away. If they took out the fans, it would have.
Yeah.
I think. I mean,
Because he still got to get the courts.
final,
Yeah, because he still
the
got the court storm
storm
and all that good
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that was fine. I thought Bill Smith, our athletic director, did a decent job at the end,
Yeah.
saying, okay, everyone's going to stay put. We're going to shake hands. We're going to let Wagner leave. And then we're going to celebrate. And I think that's a good way to go about it.
Yeah. I mean, they handled it the best way they possibly could have.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm at least glad that they were able to, that you guys were able to, be able to have that experience on the court, go from there. I don't know. Moving forward though, I mentioned your high jumping. I mentioned some of your favorite moments with basketball. For you, what's been your favorite Bulldog moment so far as an athlete here?
I mean, that's a tough one. I could go individual and say that high jump, but I mean, my goal is to break that. So I mean, maybe this weekend I can break that. But I have to go the NEC championship game, and then obviously the Wright State game, that whole March Madness experience. That's one not a lot of people can say they've been to, and it was just an amazing experience. I mean, flying there on a chartered plane,
absolutely.
The hotels, just the arena. University of Dayton was all done up. March Madness filled up too, probably 12,000 people at the game. It was just an amazing experience between that and the championship game for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's gotta be an incredible experience to be at. Just as an athlete, I asked this kind of question to a bunch of athletes, but what are some, in kind of getting to this level in your athletic career, what are some obstacles that you faced, and how have you been able to overcome them?
I mean, the obstacles I want to say is just sacrificing some things. I mean, especially for me, I'm playing 2 Division I sports. I mean, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And for me, I mean, our coaching staff it's all about the work. That's their phrase. It's all about the work, and you got to outwork the next person. And you just have to sacrifice some things. Like sometimes my social life isn't there, and that's fine. I have to sacrifice some things for school. You have to balance schoolwork with that. I'm playing 2 sports. My schedule doesn't line up with track. It kind of lines up with basketball.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I got to go about my schedule, make sure I'm getting my schoolwork done, my basketball stuff done. I mean, I don't really have any time for the extra stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to say that's a downer for me, because I mean, I'm focused on what I want to do. So that doesn't affect me, but you do need to make a lot of sacrifices to be successful, I want to say. And I think freshman year, I'm adjusting pretty well. So.
Yeah, I'd have to say so. I mean, you're at least able to, do some things, which is good to see. For, kind of moving forward then, what are your thoughts next year? So obviously we were talking some basketball. So, you guys did go out to Wright State and you ended up losing to those guys, but going into next year, there's going to be a lot of turnover on this roster. Obviously, I think we're losing 5 seniors. So we're losing Pete, we're losing Adam, Luis, Hall, and then Greg. Yeah. So we're losing a pretty good decent chunk of our guys. How do you feel about the team next year?
I think we'll be just fine.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had guys on campus that are really good players, high level players. We have a couple guys coming in that will play right away. I know that.
And then I know we have some transfers that are coming in too. Obviously, Antoine Walker from URI, that's been announced. So I'm really excited about what's going to happen there. He's someone I'm really excited about. And I like what I've seen from him at URI. I love it to get a chance to talk with him at some point and, get his thoughts on coming to Bryant. So I'm really excited for things moving forward with the program. Obviously, we're moving into a new conference next year. That's going to be a pretty big adjustment. I know some teams are saying this is going to be worse for them. How do you guys feel about going to this new competition?
I mean, I don't think we're scared at all. We're very excited. I mean, the NEC is going to be down next year unless coaches need to recruit. We're kind of glad we're moving up. We'll face the challenge. I think we'll be just fine with our team. It's not a rebuilding year by any means. We're going there to win the league first year. Vermont's a tough team. I mean, that's a tough conference.
Yeah.
But I think we'll be just fine.
That's awesome to hear. So, I mean, there's going to be some it's going to be a very different look for it with you though. I mean, in my opinion, the America East is very top heavy. It goes Vermont, and then, it's kind of just
the bottom isn't great at all.
Yeah. The bottom's not really anything special. You could throw a bunch of those guys, I think, in the NEC and it'd be, very similar kind of results. And then even like 2 through the rest of those guys, it's kind of just a smattering of other teams. And I just don't know how exactly competitive it's really going to be, but I'm excited for what's going to come with that though. I really am. But one of the things too that I'm wondering is what are some goals for yourself next year? So obviously you didn't get a chance to play this year, but next year, what are some when you do get that opportunity, what are
Mhm.
some things you're going to try to do?
I think me, it's just kind of knowing my role.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not that guy like I was in high school. I think I need to play a lot harder. If I want to find, ways to get on the court, I need to work on some things, and I need to kind of showcase what I'm good at.
Like what things? What are you trying to improve on?
For me, I think from high school, I need to play a lot harder. I
Okay.
had the ball in my hands in high school a lot. Kind of played the 2, the 1, the 4, everything in high school. Did really well my senior year, but here it's different. I mean, you have guys like Pete who are very ball dominant, and Pete's going to take most of the shots, and
Yeah.
that's as it should. For me, I need to probably rebound better, do all the dirty work, play some defense, and just be in good shape. And I mean, hit the open shot. That's what I really need to work on this summer is my jump shot.
Are you ready for that grind?
Yeah, for sure.
I'd love to see it.
But just playing hard overall and just working on my skills. I mean, I think I'll be okay going forward.
Mhm. Yeah. We mentioned Coach Grasso earlier on the show in terms of coaching, and obviously he's had an incredible impact on this team. But for yourself, since you've been here, who are some other individuals that have really, helped you kind of elevate your game in both areas? You can talk about track and basketball.
Probably my strength and conditioning coach, Coach Buck.
I've heard great things about.
He's amazing, and he's also the strength and conditioning coach for the men's track team.
Oh, that's awesome.
And women's track team. So it kind of goes hand to hand. I was with him all winter. I took a red shirt this year, so I wasn't eligible to play. So I was doing some very harder stuff in the weight room with him all winter, getting ready, and that's kind of why I'm seeing success in track. He knows all of his stuff, whether it's weights, bands, stretching, icing, heating, any training stuff. I mean, he's that guy.
Yeah. So, I mean, being able to have someone go over and have that turnover, yeah. I mean, it's not like you're going from one guy to another. Like, this guy knows you, and I mean, just being able to have that, it's just have that simplicity. It's also going to be, you also don't have to worry about there being too many cooks in the kitchen when it comes to, one coach might be saying, hey, I want you to do this lift. And the other coach will be saying, no, you'll kill yourself if you do that.
Exactly.
So he knows what's going to be best for you, and there's not going to be any confusion on that.
Exactly.
Side.
And I trust him, and he's great with that. I mean, between him, everyone else in the weight room, and everyone on the basketball staff, everyone has their role, and they've been great to me.
Yeah.
And the track staff has been very welcoming. I mean, thankfully, I've had no bad experiences really my freshman year. And I think a lot of freshmen, whether they play sports or not, go through some things their freshman year.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think I'm really just enjoying my freshman year and just hoping for the best going forward. So,
yeah. Obviously there's a ton of things that probably I think a lot of people here go through, outside of sports in general. And, you talked about social life and some things like that. What are some other, adjustments that you've probably had to make since coming here, especially, while you are a freshman, you do have to balance the fact of being an athlete outside of social life. What are some other things that you've had to try and balance?
I mean, surprisingly, eating.
Yes. Actually, no. What am I saying? Yes, you're actually right.
Yeah. So
it's because the dining hall here sucks.
It does. Yeah. Yeah. It's not amazing. I heard we're getting a new dining hall.
Yeah, I'm gonna be gone.
You'll be gone. Yeah, I might even be gone by then. Yeah. I mean, and then a new basketball arena that's getting put in next year. Probably won't be done.
It'll be done, I think, 2024.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't be here.
I live close, so I'll come back. I'll watch you guys in some games.
Yeah.
No.
But no, eating is just one I didn't think would be hard.
Well, you hear about the freshman 15, but a lot of people don't realize it can go one way or the other.
Yes,
it really can. Because if you do not like the food at your dining hall, you just will say, I don't need dinner tonight. Yeah. I just don't need to eat it. And then it'll be like, well, who eats breakfast? And it's just sometimes you're just eating one meal a day, and it's just that's what college is.
Yeah. And for me, it's not even that the food stinks. I think it's not amazing. I'm not going to sit here and say Salmo is amazing, but
come on, man. You don't need to pump up Salmo here. It doesn't matter. Yeah. You're not going to lose a scholarship over going on Salmo. The coaches will probably tell you that Salmo sucks.
But I know what I meant by that is just between my schedule, it's very hard to find time to eat during the day, which you wouldn't even think about. You'd think there'd be a set time, but it's not. I mean, for example, my schedule, today I lifted with the basketball team at 8 a.m. Then I went out to the track and had track practice, or it was inside today until class until 12:30. And then I had class from 12:30 right to 3:15. Had a meeting with my advisor from 3:15 to 3:30. Met with a math tutor from 3:30 to 4:30. And then when am I going to eat? You know, I have to eat before lift. And then sometimes, I catch myself leaving class to go eat, which is insane. and then you got to go to the training room every once in a while. So I mean, it's very tedious work.
Yeah, there's a
And
lot of just nitty gritty
eating
stuff.
is a thing you wouldn't think you need to find time in your day to do, but like, especially for me, I don't want to put on weight, but I don't want to lose weight. I kind of want to get more fit,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. And for me, I need to eat 3 meals a day and make sure I'm doing that. So
No,
I mean, it can be difficult.
No, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I know, at least for myself, freshman year, I think I came home one time and I like just was stepping on the scale because I didn't have one. I didn't have one here, and I was just like, oh my God, I lost 10 pounds.
Yeah.
I was like, what
and
the hell?
Nothing changed in your work routine.
No,
probably.
nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing too, like you're walking a ton, so there's
Yeah.
that too. So you're gonna shed calories that way,
Mhm.
and then you end up saying, oh yeah, well I guess I didn't. I guess I really only just had one bowl of pasta and that was it.
Yeah.
Like eventually you end up going like, oh shoot, like I guess I need to eat a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I don't know, that is something I can definitely attest to. But man, before we do end up going, as I mentioned, I like to ask all the athletes I have on this show a very similar question, and it's something that unfortunately happens to all of us. Whether you make it to the heights of the NBA or you are done with basketball after middle school, it doesn't matter when it doesn't matter. Eventually, it does end at the end of the day. For yourself, I know you said right now you're, before the show, you mentioned you're undecided in your major. So I know there's still like some career path things and, formal educational things you're trying to do. But right now, if, basketball was to go away, what would be your dream job?
I mean, my dream job, I mean, some things would just be around sports. I mean, maybe working for a sports agency, like that would be really cool.
Yeah.
And even just working in the city. I mean, I'm
You're a city boy?
Yeah. 15, 20 minutes outside of Boston. I mean, going to Boston every day and working in an office. I mean, that wouldn't mind me if I kind of liked what I did.
Yeah.
Like I said, though, I would want to be around sports, but I want to make sure it's a good balance of, work and sports. An agency would be a really cool job. And that's something I'm looking into, what majors to focus on if I really want to pursue that. But it is a hard industry. I mean, you need to know some people, but I mean, that would be a really dream job because you're around a sport that you really like, and you get some great connections. You meet some very, very good guys.
Oh, I mean, the connections you'll just meet here, man. I swear to you, it's.
Coach Duhan. Do you know Chris Duhan?
Yeah, I mean, played at Duke with Coach K.
Played in the league for 10 years.
Played with Kobe.
Oh my gosh, and he's the most humble guy that you'll meet.
And I actually meant to mention him before we ended up going down to the wire. Coach Duhan. I mean, when Grasso was, when Grasso was entertaining some coaching searches, I was saying like, I mean, this guy has NBA experience. Like maybe like if Grasso was to leave, we could be like, hey, you wanted to like take the job? I mean, he's an incredible guy from what I've heard.
Gosh, yeah.
I mean, how has he been with you guys?
I mean, just player development and just being there for all of us. I mean, he's a great role model to be around.
Yeah.
And he's just a very humble guy. I mean,
and you wouldn't expect that from someone coming out of the NBA.
Yeah. If you didn't know him, you'd be like, oh, this is just a really nice coach.
Yeah.
I mean, we go to some away games and there's people that are coming to the game that leave after they get his autograph. I mean, I remember we went to Merrimack and before the game, some student came up to him, got his autograph and then left. Didn't even stay for the game. I mean, St. Francis, PA, it happened, and he's just really great about it.
That's awesome.
And he's just a really humble guy, and he knows his stuff.
Has he ever mentioned like any Coach K stories or Kobe stories to you guys?
No, but he did mention Kobe's work ethic one time.
Really?
And he was just saying how it's different. And I mean, it was just a great story. And for him, he just really knows his stuff. I mean, between pace, skill work, and stuff like that, even just him being on the sidelines, he can call players over. Hey, you need to do this. You need to do this. Mm-hmm. You'll literally see it the next play and it works. I mean, it's just stuff like that. And he sees all the little things.
It's just the NBA touch. I mean, it's incredible. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know like we were, doing some stuff with athletic communications and, we were actually kind of hoping that, hey, not to kind of, screw with you guys, but we were like, oh, if Bryant got a chance to play Duke, we would have gotten a really good chance for, to have maybe a moment with Coach K and Duhan.
Yeah.
We were actually thinking about that.
So this is a funny story. So we were scheduled to play at Cornell early in the year on a weekend. And that game got canceled. So we had no game that weekend and Duke's game got canceled. And obviously Coach Duhan knows Coach K very well.
Yeah.
And we were trying to get that game and they were interested.
Really?
Duke was, but I think between the traveling and stuff like that, I mean, we didn't want to pay for all this travel and I didn't think Duke was down to pay for a jet to come play them.
Well, yeah, they were going to be down to play for a Jets to come play them. I also know Duke wouldn't be packing the Chase anytime soon.
Yeah, no.
But
They're not coming to Rhode Island. I'll tell you that.
I know.
But that would have been a great experience.
Oh my God, to be able. I mean, I know Brian. I think they played him back in like 2016 or something.
It was at Duke, I think.
Yeah,
right?
it was at Duke. I think they got killed.
Probably.
But honestly, that's a compliment to get killed by Duke. It's like
that though. That's another experience. Like those guys didn't experience an NEC title or March Madness, but that's probably one of their highlights of their college career.
Getting to step on that
the Cameron Crazies right there. I mean, that's probably insane.
Oh my God, it's probably something. It's probably unreal. I couldn't probably never describe that. Yeah. Mike, it's been a great time talking to you. Unfortunately, though, we are now officially down to the wire, which means that we're going to do a quick wrap up of things that we talked about in this episode and get on with the night. So obviously we welcomed on Mr. Mike Marshall onto the show to talk about his track and basketball careers here at Bryant. Mike, thank you once again for coming on, man. I appreciate it. It's kind of a weird little squeeze with the laptop, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. I'd love to have you on just to talk some basketball or anything
or
anything like that in the future. For anyone who doesn't know this show and maybe it's their first time watching, I also do some just general sports talk segments. So if you're ever interested in just talking some basketball news, there's obviously going to be a lot of it coming up with the NBA playoffs approaching. Maybe talk, well, it's kind of more present, but the Lakers not making the playoffs.
How about that? Yeah.
Some things going on there. Yeah, I mean, that's complete embarrassment, but
3 top 10 players in the NBA.
Jesus Christ. I mean, I'm so sorry. That's ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. I hate to be the guy of just being like, this ends the debate, but I'm just like, what?
If Jordan's on that team, it's not happening.
It's not happening.
Yeah, it's just simply not happening. No playing game. That's insane.
No, yeah. You couldn't even make. When Jordan was in the league, it was 8 seeds and that was it. The fact that they couldn't even make a 10 seed playing game, I'm sorry. That's the most embarrassing thing I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
With the team they had too. I mean, it's just sad. I mean, I don't know what to say.
No, I really don't know what to say on that. That is embarrassing. But obviously, that's a preview of something that we could get if you're interested in coming back. We could do a full segment on something like that. But obviously, we mentioned his track and basketball careers, as well as some of the people that have helped him along the way, and just a general all-around great conversation. I really do thank him for coming on. But before we do leave, if you guys are not following Down to the Wire at this point, what are you guys doing? We're available everywhere you guys can find podcasts, whether that be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. You can also find the video stream to this podcast on YouTube, and you can also live stream this podcast on Wednesdays and Fridays from 7 to 8 p.m. on WJMF 88.7 HD2 Smithfield, Providence. You can find all the links to this stuff again in our Instagram at down.tothewire on Instagram. Again, at down.tothewire on Instagram. Mike, is there anything you want to say before we take off?
No, just thank you for having me. I mean, it's a great experience.
Anytime, man. I'd love to have you back on again to chat some stuff. So thank you guys again so much for watching. And from Down to the Wire, I'm Brian Costa.
And I'm Mike Marshall.
Have a great day. Take care and peace out.